Welcome everyone. My name is Craig Cmiel with BX Partners and BX Index. Today we're joined by Arun Soni, who is the founder and CEO of an important strategic partner called phaseinvest, and they do a lot of innovative index creation work, and we'll get into that in just a second. BX CIO, BX Partners views the opportunity for direct indexing with financial advisors in a way that it should be much more customized, and advisors should be using direct indexing for ways far beyond just tax loss harvesting and for customization of the S&P 500, but in a way that's really a better tool relative to ETFs and SMAs to build portfolios. And today we're going to talk about that. And so, Arun, let's just talk about this notion of what's the right index. And so I know you give a lot of thought to should advisors be starting with the S&P 500, or are there lots of other things that they could be exploring? So talk for a minute about how financial advisors should select the right index.
Good morning, Craig. Pleasure to be here. I think the index selection is so direct indexing has a lot of benefits on the tax optimization side, extracting return from that perspective. But the base return will be delivered by the index one selects. And it's not just about, I think, selecting the S&P 500 or Russell 1000. It's about what's the objective. So if the objective is to, let's say, capture momentum in the US large cap market, then we need to select some index that will capture momentum. And then it's crucial to understand, is that index capturing that effect, one, in the most efficient way? And secondly, is it capturing it pure? What do we mean? That it's capturing momentum and doesn't have too many exposures to other factors, because if you then want to use it as a building block, that might cause a problem if you've got momentum mixed with lots of other things. Whereas if you have momentum exposure and neutrality to other factors, now you could combine it with, let's say, a volatility index, and you're now starting to put the Lego bricks together to form your multi-strategy portfolio. And then secondly, it's not just, well, I'll just pick any momentum index. I think it's good to research and understand, has that index been, what's its construction methodology? Is it efficiently capturing momentum or dividend yield or volatility, and so on? And then market-based index, let's say you want to capture the overall US large cap market effect like S&P 500. Should you take the S&P 500, customize it yourself? Or is it better to look at a sparse index that may be capturing that effect better?
Yeah, I think that's a great opening, because I think for a lot of current users of direct indexing, it's really about parsing it down based on customization. But what you just said was, really there you can approach an index from a fundamental standpoint of, am I more interested in momentum, or more interested in growth, or more interested in volatility, or more interested in value, whatever that case might be, and you're going to lead to a better outcome potentially. So from your perspective as a guy who spends a lot of time working on indexing, how does one go about sort of extracting the full potential of an index?
I mean, as with any investment strategy, I think the biggest enemy of any investment decision, it can be systematic or fundamental, is bias, right? And cognitive and emotional bias are the two things that really hurt investment decisions. Now, in indexing, because it's rules-based, you at least are able to minimize the emotional bias. But the cognitive bias, where we base decisions on false premises, can creep in. And one of them is always using market cap as the weighting function. Why? I mean, we should step back and ask ourselves, why has the index provider done that? Is it because historically its biggest index is the market cap weighted index, and that just sort of permeates into every index it builds? But that may not be the right one for you. So I think it's important that the construction methodology not have the biases. And then I think diversification is important, but over diversification will then inhibit the alpha extraction. So I think it needs to be diversified enough so that, let's say, a few securities don't have the potential to hurt the portfolio so much. But and also with direct indexing, right, we want the execution to be easy enough, so not too many securities. And I think the last point I'll say is that we should not attempt customization for the sake of it. So yes, you may have a direct indexing platform that lets you remove or add securities or do customization, but without proper research, you don't know if you are now distorting the efficiency of the index. So I would still suggest that if you're not really accomplished in rules-based strategies, then to maybe work with somebody or a partner that's accomplished at that, and then do the customization in conjunction with your partner.
So I know that you believe that you can improve performance by building indexes a certain way. Or another way of saying that is to find or extract alpha through this process. But explain to us how you go about doing that.
I think so. Let's separate that into two. So if we talk about factor indices, there we are extracting let's say we're extracting the smart beta. And our desire is not about return maximization, but rather that we want to capture that pure effect. Because when our users then combine indices, they should be able to combine two or more pure effects. And if the indices have been constructed pure, they'll be uncorrelated or they'll have low correlation with each other. And then when you put them together, they will cancel each other's weaknesses. And as an illustration, when we combine our US dividend yield index with our US momentum index, each have 50 securities, but they only share 3 securities in common. So what happens is you get two uncorrelated building blocks, they cancel each other's, let's say, weaknesses and create a synergy in the combined portfolio.
Let me ask you one last question. Typically, do you think an investor is better off buying the ETF SPY or creating something new that's more tailored to the outcome that they're seeking?
I mean, I think so. We know that the S&P 500 over the last few years has become more and more concentrated. While this year has been a very strong return year, we know it's driven by a narrow set of securities and in the same sector. So I'd say if as an investor, if I believe that the next few years will mirror the past few years, then of course I should just buy the SPY. But if I'm not comfortable holding those concentration risks, both in terms of the narrow range of securities driving the index and also one or two sectors powering the index, then I know I need to do something, which means that now I need to take that S&P 500 universe and tailor it in such a way that I can align it with my objectives, I'll attain my goals, but I manage my risks.
Yeah, what I like about the work that you do is that as the markets are changing and evolving, the indexes that you create can change and evolve with them. Arun, I wanted to thank you for just hopping on and doing a brief overview of the importance of design that goes into the indexes and how that's really important to financial advisors and their clients. And I would just say, as we wrap up for today, just reach out to the link below if you have any questions or you want to schedule a meeting with Arun or BX CIO. And just to conclude, what we're talking about today is the actual design that goes into an index, which is really fascinating. For a financial advisor, we still have the front end, like the actual clients, the risk profile of those clients, and the bringing in of these index solutions. And then ultimately that leads to trading and rebalancing, as well as tax optimization. So there's a whole lot going on here. And we're happy to share more of that with you. But Arun, thanks for sharing a few minutes with me today. And we'll look forward to sharing more videos with everyone else soon.
Pleasure. Thank you.